In 2022, Yennir Cano was absolutely terrible, pitching to a 9.22 ERA in 13.2 innings for the Twins, then being traded to Baltimore and giving up 9 runs in 4.1 innings. He was allowing almost 1.5 hits per inning, and his walk rate was also insanely high, averaging almost 1 per inning. So, needless to say, if he wanted to stick around, something needed to change. So that's exactly when he decided to become perhaps the best relief pitcher in all of baseball. In 2023, Cano has been absolutely elite, completely turning it around. But in order to understand how he did it, let's take a closer look at what he's working with. There are 3 pitches in the arsenal of Yennir Cano, a sinker, changeup, and slider, and this isn't too different from 2022, but when we take a closer look, he has made one very slight arm slot adjustment. As a result, his sinker is averaging 32.6 inches of vertical drop in 2023, which is not only 5.7 inches more than the previous year, but deviates more from its expected path than any other fastball. That, combined with the amount of run it has, makes for a ridiculously difficult pitch for hitters to face. What makes it even more difficult, however, is his changeup, which almost mirrors the movement of his sinker, except it's thrown 5 miles per hour slower, plenty to make the best hitters look foolish. To top it off, he has a slider that he throws pretty infrequently, but given the massive difference in movement, this secret weapon is more than enough to throw off a hitter. So let's watch him throw off some hitters. His first outing came in a bit of a sticky situation. Runners on first and second, 1 out with a red-hot Luis Robert at the plate. After pumping 2 sinkers in similar areas, he threw a non-competitive changeup, but 2 sinkers later, the count was full.
On the ground, back to Cano, up high at second base, and they do turn 2.
Cano stayed on the mound to start the next inning, and after Andrew Vaughn worked the count full, he tapped an easy grounder for the shortstop. Up next was Eloy Jimenez, who, similar to the previous 2 batters, reached 3-2, only to get frozen by a fantastic combination of pitches. Following that, Hanser Alberto started out swinging more aggressively, but struggled mightily to square one up, only to ground out softly to Cano. 4 straight outs. Not a bad start, but it was just that, a start. The truth would reveal itself with a higher sample size. So let's briefly go over his next 8 outings. Strikeout, groundout, strikeout. Lineout, strikeout, groundout. Flyout, groundout. Strikeout, groundout, strikeout, groundout, strikeout. Strikeout, strikeout, lineout. Strikeout, lineout, flyout, groundout, hit by pitch, groundout. Groundout, flyout, groundout. Strikeout, groundout, strikeout, groundout. So basically, through 11 innings in the month of April, he'd only allowed 1 base runner via hitting them with a pitch. Simply, batters could not figure this guy out. That is, until the month of May.
High bouncer, Urias grabs it with a bare hand, and he has no play.
And there goes the no-hitter. But of course that wasn't going to be sustainable. The important part was that he remained consistent, and that he did, as over his first 8 outings in May, he continued the streak of not allowing a run. And then the inevitable happened.
Lifted to right, slicing to the corner, that is bare! And bounces into the stands for a ground rule double. Grounded back up the middle, off the glove of Cano. That'll get a run home as Frazier retires Bichette's.
It was just 1, and he didn't give up any runs over his next 2 outings. But when facing the Yankees, he did the unthinkable.
Outside, he works a walk.
It was his first walk of the year, ending an absolutely insane streak, and Judge ended up scoring on a hit, further raising his ERA. The collapse continued a few days later, as the Rangers were able to get a run off him. But all of this was a mere sign that Yennir Cano was a human being and not a robot designed to pitch perfectly.